Ladies and gentlemen, friends, dreamers, and future achievers, thank you for being here today. If you're listening to this, I'm assuming one thing: you want to build something bigger than what you currently have. Maybe you're starting from nothing. Maybe you've tried before and fallen short. Or maybe you're standing at the bottom of a mountain so big you don't even know where to take your first step. Let me tell you something important right away. Success does not belong to special people. It belongs to consistent people. I started with nothing, no money, no connections, no academic achievements to brag about, no fancy opportunities waiting for me, just a desire to prove that I could build a better life. And today, I'm going to give you the exact blueprint I learned through years of mistakes, years of trying, years of failing, and years of refusing to quit. This is not theory. This is not motivational fluff. This is the plan. A step-by-step, practical, actionable plan for anyone who wants to go from nothing, absolutely nothing, to a meaningful level of success. So let's begin. The first step to success isn't glamorous. It's not exciting. It doesn't give you dopamine. In fact, it's the step that most people run from. You must accept exactly where you are in life. No excuses, no denial, no storytelling. When I say start from nothing, I don't mean you lack potential. I mean your circumstances aren't easy. You have bills, you have stress, you have uncertainty, you have a past filled with mistakes or regrets. But here's the truth that will change your life. Where you start has nothing to do with how far you can go, unless you let it. Think about it like this. Most people spend their time complaining. Most people feel sorry for themselves. Most people are waiting for someone to save them. And while they do that, successful people get moving. Feeling stuck? Good. Feeling overlooked? Good. Feeling underestimated? Even better. That's fuel. Success begins the moment you say, I am responsible for my life. No one is coming to fix it. I have to fix it myself. That single sentence, if you take it seriously, will shift you from a victim mindset to a builder mindset. And I promise you, the builder mindset is what creates real results. Acceptance doesn't mean giving up. Acceptance means you know your starting point, so now you can plan your route. The worst lie society tells you is that your environment determines your destiny. It doesn't. Your habits determine your destiny. Your actions determine your destiny. Your willingness to keep going when others stop determines your destiny. If you can accept your reality without complaining about it, you've already done something that 99% of people will never do. And that gives you an incredible advantage. The skill gets your foot in the door. Your work ethic kicks the door off its hinges. I want to be brutally honest with you. You cannot outsmart laziness. You cannot shortcut discipline. You cannot cheat your way to consistency. Every successful person I've ever met, not the ones who pretend online, I mean the real ones, has one undeniable trait. They work harder than everyone else. Not for 1 week, not for 1 month, but for years. Now notice what I didn't say. I didn't say they burn out. I didn't say they never sleep. I didn't say they live in misery. Hard work does not mean torture. Hard work means intensity of focus. It means when you're working, you're really working. No distractions, no half effort, no pretending to be busy. You can beat 90% of people simply by being fully present when working. Develop the habits that separate winners from dreamers. Wake up earlier than your excuses. Work even when you don't feel like it. Stick to your commitments. Train your discipline like a muscle. Respect your future self by acting today. Hard work is not optional. It's the price of admission. And once you become the hardest worker in the room, opportunities no longer look like miracles. They look like the natural result of who you've become. If you truly want to build wealth, you must eventually do one of two things: start a business or join a business where your value multiplies your income. A business is a machine that produces income without requiring every unit of effort to come directly from your time. And here's the truth. You do not need a big idea to start. You do not need investors. You do not need a huge audience. What you need is a problem to solve. Look around. Every person, every family, every company has problems. If you solve even one of those problems reliably, you can build a business. Business is simple. Find a problem, solve it consistently. charge fairly, reinvent as needed. That's it. If you aren't ready to start something yet, then join a growing company and become indispensable. Learn how operations work. Learn how people think. Learn how money flows. Learn how to lead others. Then one day, with enough experience, you will see opportunities everywhere, because that's the secret. The more value you create, the more opportunities find you. So here we are. You now have the roadmap. Accept reality and take responsibility. Master a valuable skill. Become the hardest worker in the room. Grow your money from the ground up. Build or join a business with purpose. Think long term. Surround yourself with winners. Stay humble, stay hungry. That is the plan. Not overnight, not easy, but guaranteed if you stick with it. You may be starting from nothing, but never forget this. Every great story begins with nothing. Every empire started as an idea. Every success story started with a decision. Every winner was once an ordinary person with extraordinary determination. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be gifted. You don't need to be rich. You don't need permission. You need consistency. You need courage. You need patience. You need discipline. And most importantly, you need to believe that your future is worth fighting for, because it is. You can build a life you're proud of. You can rise above the noise. You can accomplish things that right now seem impossible. This is your moment, your chapter 1, your first step towards something extraordinary. Now go out there and build your story. Not someday, not when you feel ready, not when life becomes easier. Start today. Start now. Start with whatever you have and never stop climbing. The foundation of any journey from nothing to success begins with the willingness to take complete responsibility for your life. This means recognizing that your current situation, no matter how unfair or difficult, is now in your hands to improve. Many people spend years blaming circumstances, their past, their upbringing, or even luck, believing these things dictate their future. While it's true that circumstances can make life harder, the real difference between those who rise and those who stay stuck is ownership. When you stop expecting someone else to fix your life, your mindset shifts from powerless to powerful. Taking responsibility doesn't mean blaming yourself for things outside your control, but it does mean accepting that your response, your decisions, and your next steps belong to you. Once you accept this, something incredible happens. You start to see possibilities instead of limitations. You realize that you have far more control than you once believed, and that every small action you take today can lead to a different tomorrow. Responsibility frees you from waiting. It forces you to act. It encourages you to learn, grow, and develop resilience. People who take responsibility move differently because they no longer see themselves as victims of life. They see themselves as creators of their future. And when you shift into that mindset, complaining stops, excuses disappear, and your energy is redirected into solutions and progress. You begin seeking opportunities instead of obstacles. You focus on what you can change instead of what you cannot. You stop comparing yourself to others and start competing with who you were yesterday. This single shift in thinking can completely alter your life because it puts all the power into your hands. It turns frustration into motivation. It turns fear into challenge. It turns uncertainty into opportunity. When you take responsibility, you stop wasting time waiting for the perfect conditions or the approval of others. You begin moving forward even if the path isn't clear. You accept that setbacks will happen, but you push through them because you know your future depends on your persistence. Nothing changes until you decide to change yourself first. Taking responsibility is the moment your old story ends and your new story begins. Success becomes far more attainable when you shift your focus from wanting more money to becoming more valuable. And the most effective way to increase your value is to master a high-income skill. A high-value skill is something that solves real problems for real people and can be learned without needing a degree or years of formal education. When you start from nothing, skills are your most reliable tool. They cost little to acquire, they cannot be taken away from you, and they multiply your opportunities. Instead of trying to do a little bit of everything, mastering one skill deeply makes you stand out in a crowded world. Most people remain average because they never commit long enough to become truly skilled at something. They bounce from one thing to another, searching for shortcuts or easy results, but mastery requires focus. It requires the willingness to be bad at something before you become good. It requires the patience to keep practicing long after the initial excitement fades. But once you become excellent at one skill, whether it's sales, video editing, copywriting, coding, design, marketing, or any service people need, you immediately become valuable. People will pay for what you can do, not what you hope for. You can start freelancing, finding clients, or getting higher quality jobs with higher pay. More importantly, a strong skill gives you confidence. It gives you leverage. It gives you freedom. You no longer rely on hope or luck. You rely on your ability to deliver results. And as your skill grows, so does your income. With a high-value skill, opportunities begin to find you. Clients refer you to others. Employers trust you with bigger tasks. Your reputation builds. And once you have one strong skill, you can later stack more on top of it, creating a unique combination that makes you even more valuable. But everything starts with choosing one skill and dedicating yourself to mastering it. The moment you decide to go all in on a skill is the moment you stop drifting and start building. Hard work is the one advantage available to absolutely anyone, regardless of background, education, or starting position. When you begin at the bottom, hard work becomes your greatest weapon because it allows you to surpass people who may have started ahead of you but lack the discipline to keep moving. Outworking others doesn't simply mean putting in more hours. It means using your hours with intense focus and intention. It means showing up when others are sleeping, practicing when others are relaxing, and pushing forward when others quit. Most people claim they want success, but their actions don't match their desires. They want results without discomfort, growth without effort, and progress without sacrifice. But the truth is simple. The world rewards those who put in the consistent work required to create excellence. When you build the habit of working harder than everyone else, you develop resilience, discipline, and self-belief. You begin to trust yourself because you see what you are capable of. You stop looking for shortcuts because you understand that shortcuts only delay progress. Hard work creates consistency, and consistency creates momentum. Day after day, you train yourself to overcome laziness, distractions, and excuses. While other people waste time on entertainment or unhealthy habits, you invest your time into building a future. Hard work doesn't mean neglecting rest. It means prioritizing what matters. It means replacing empty time with productive time. It means doing the difficult tasks even when you aren't motivated. Motivation comes and goes, but discipline stays. When you work harder than others, you quickly rise above average because most people never push past their comfort zone. They settle. They stop trying. They wait for inspiration instead of taking action. But those who commit to hard work separate themselves from the crowd. They gain skills faster. They get noticed sooner. They create more opportunities. They earn trust. They build momentum. And once you develop a strong work ethic, it becomes part of who you are, becomes automatic. You show up with purpose. You finish what you start. You do more than expected. Hard work is what transforms potential into achievement. It's what turns dreams into reality. It's what allows someone starting from nothing to rise above those who started with more advantages but lacked determination. When you're starting from nothing, the way you treat small amounts of money determines whether you will ever manage large amounts successfully. Many people believe that if they just made more money, their financial problems would disappear. But earning more money is useless if you don't learn how to keep and grow it. Respecting small money means understanding that every pound or dollar has a purpose. It means tracking your expenses so you know where your money actually goes instead of guessing. Most people lose money not because they don't earn enough, but because they spend without awareness. When you begin respecting small amounts, you start building financial discipline. You understand the difference between wants and needs. You stop spending to impress others. You stop buying things that bring temporary pleasure but long-term regret. Small financial habits, saving, budgeting, controlling impulse spending, are the foundation that prepares you for wealth. Even saving a small amount each week builds the habit of consistency. And once you create the habit, increasing the amount becomes easy. Respecting small money also means learning how to grow your income, not just cutting expenses. You develop a high-value skill so you can charge more. You take small jobs, freelancing gigs, or part-time opportunities to increase your earnings. Every extra pound you earn becomes a tool for building your future. Once you have even a small cushion of savings, you remove stress and desperation. This gives you the freedom to make smarter decisions and think long-term. While others spend everything they earn, you begin investing. You start small, because small is enough to begin the habit. You invest in index funds, ETFs, retirement accounts, or other long-term vehicles that grow steadily over time. The key is consistency and patience. Wealth rarely comes from one big decision, it comes from thousands of small ones. When you respect small money, you respect the value of delayed gratification. You choose future benefits over short-term impulses. You build a mindset that understands money is not something to display, but something to use as a tool for freedom. Treating £10 with discipline is what prepares you to handle £10,000 or £100,000 in the future. The habits you build with small amounts are the same habits that keep your finances strong when your income grows. You build wealth from the ground up by valuing every step of the journey and managing money with intention rather than emotion. To achieve meaningful financial success, at some point you must go beyond trading hours for money and learn how to create or participate in something that can scale. A scalable business, whether you build it yourself or become a key player in someone else's, creates value that extends beyond your individual time and effort. When you start from nothing, the most powerful path to long-term wealth is entrepreneurship or contributing to a business with strong growth potential. You do not need a groundbreaking idea to begin, you need a problem to solve. Every business is built on solving a problem that people have and are willing to pay to fix. The more consistently you can solve that problem, the stronger your business becomes. Starting small is not only acceptable, it's smart. Begin with low-risk, low-cost ideas. Offer services related to your skill set. Take on freelance projects. Sell a product you can source easily. Provide solutions you can deliver yourself. As you gain experience, you learn what works and what doesn't. You develop customer understanding. You build confidence. Then you begin improving your systems. You automate tasks, outsource work, hire help, or create products that can be sold repeatedly without needing constant effort. These actions create scale. If building a business feels overwhelming, you can instead join a business where growth is happening. Become the person everyone relies on. Learn every part of the operation. Acquire multiple skills within the company. Make yourself indispensable. Businesses reward the value you create, and in a fast-growing environment, your role and income can grow rapidly if you're willing to go the extra mile. The goal is to put yourself in a position where your value multiplies over time. A business, whether your own or one you're heavily involved in, is the vehicle that takes you beyond surviving and into thriving. You gain financial freedom, creative control, and the ability to influence your own destiny in ways a typical job cannot offer. Business growth requires patience, adaptability, and resilience. You will face setbacks, mistakes, and unexpected challenges, but each experience teaches you more about how the world works and how people think. Over time, these lessons compound into wisdom, and that wisdom becomes the foundation of your success. A scalable business allows you to earn even when you're resting, traveling, or focusing on new opportunities. It is the engine that transforms disciplined effort into lasting results. The most powerful force behind success is long-term thinking. Most people fail not because they lack talent, but because they think in days, not decades. They want fast results. They want instant gratification. They expect progress without patience. But true success requires a long-term mindset. When you think long-term, you stop chasing shortcuts and focus on building habits that pay off over years, not moments. You start seeing setbacks as temporary rather than final. You understand that skills take time to master. Money takes time to grow, and opportunities take time to develop. Long-term thinkers stick with their goals even when progress feels slow. They understand that consistency is more important than intensity. A little progress every day compounds into something extraordinary. Compounding applies not only to money, but to everything. Discipline, confidence, knowledge, reputation, relationships, and opportunities. Every action you take builds on the actions you took before. While short-term thinkers quit and restart constantly, Long-term thinkers keep building. Over time, the gap between them becomes massive, but thinking long-term is only half the equation. The people around you influence your mindset more than you realize. If you surround yourself with complainers, quitters, negative thinkers, or people who settle for mediocrity, their habits will slowly become yours. Your environment shapes your expectations. It shapes your ambitions. It shapes what you think is normal. If everyone around you is losing, you begin to believe that losing is acceptable. But if you surround yourself with winners, people who work hard, set goals, push themselves, and think positively, your standards rise. You start expecting more from yourself. You level up because you refuse to fall behind. Winners challenge you to grow. They inspire you to take action. They remind you that success is possible. You do not need to cut people off aggressively. You simply outgrow environments that no longer serve your vision. You spend more time around those who make you better, whether in person, through books, or through mentors online. When you combine long-term thinking with a winning environment, you give yourself the strongest foundation possible. You stop rushing the process and start trusting it. You stop doubting your potential and start acting on it. You begin living with purpose, not pressure. You develop patience without losing ambition. You stay determined without burning out. Long-term thinking paired with the right people creates unstoppable momentum because it aligns your mindset, your habits, and your environment toward the future you want to build.